Hello and welcome into this week's Devils in Detail Roundtable. We're talking about Arizona State football. My name is Killian McClatchey, joined alongside by Zach Pekale and Ethan Schmidt. It was a big weekend last week as the Sun Devils went up to Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City and absolutely dominated the Utah Utes on the road in one of the toughest environments to play, arguably in the Pac-12. Zach, we'll start with you. This Arizona State defense, it seems like they've turned a corner following the bye week. Shut down Washington, one of the top offenses in the country, and then you go up and you dominate Utah in the fashion that they did. What have you liked from that defense so far?
Well, you know, for Utah, a team that's sold out 48 straight games now at Rice-Eccles Stadium, Arizona State's defense silenced that crowd very quickly. First, Jamarcus Rhodes, then Chase Lucas, then Christian Sam, and finally, but certainly not least, J.J. Wilson. 4 interceptions in that game against Utah. The turnover margin was +3 for the Devils this past weekend. And honestly, it's an intensity and a new fire that we have not seen from this team in non-conference play. They're much more confident. They're now top 10 in the nation in Pac-12 play, in third down defense, allowing under 30% conversion, which is a fantastic rate. So whatever Phil Bennett and Todd Graham have done to this unit to wake them up out of that bye week, it's working.
Certainly. You mentioned that J.J. Wilson interception, that pick six. It looked like he slowed down going into the end zone so that way he could truck Tyler Huntley, the quarterback. A little bit of the old school U factor going in there, trying to be the thuggish. But I'll ask you now, your same thing. This defense, just what has impressed you so far, especially these last 2 weeks? Like you mentioned, out of this bye week, things look so rough for this ASU defense before then. And it kind of looks like they've got an entirely new defense out there.
I mean, you're right, Killian. It's just absolutely taking a switch. And to go off what Zach said, Phil Bennett and Todd Graham have just absolutely ignited a fire underneath these guys out there. It's a whole different team. I mean, you look at it, how they were able to beat number 5 Washington, and then how they went on the road and beat this Utah team. They look like a championship contender almost, and just the way they're competing in the Pac-12 right now is absolutely outstanding. And you got to give it up to Todd Graham for finally being gutsy, finally waking up his team and getting them that fire that they need, especially the defense when it matters most.
Certainly. You mentioned championship team this next weekend, USC coming to town. It's homecoming, but it means so much more in the big picture. USC, Arizona State, winner is in the driver's seat of the Pac-12 South. And there you go, you're driving the bus. The winner gets to sit up there in the front seat. Ethan, I'll start off with you. What are you going to be watching for in this huge game?
Oh, you know, it's absolutely critical for the Sun Devils to continue their defensive success. Don't be afraid to blitz. Don't be afraid to go out there and play hard-nosed football, because that's what they've been doing, and it's obviously working out. You got to pressure Sam Darnold up front, and you got to get after him. And then I think it also goes on to special teams. USC has notoriously been successful in their kickoff return game and their punt return game over the years with some of those star athletes back there. And it just takes all 3 phases of the game. You know, Manny Wilkins will have to be sharp for the Sun Devils, and as well as the running game up front, getting that push off the ball that we've seen as of late, getting Demario Richard and Kalen Ballage those open lanes.
Certainly. Are you sure this is Ethan over here? It's kind of sound like Todd Graham there. Win the special teams battle, 3 facets.
Hey, all 3 phases of the game.
That's very true.
It's simple.
Certainly. We'll mix it over here to you now, Zach. Looking at it, Sam Darnold has had a little bit of a turnover problem this season. The Sun Devils the last couple of weeks have been really good, especially last week, as we mentioned, all the interceptions, the +3 turnover margin. Do you think that's something that they can do again to Sam Darnold? And if they do you think they come out with that win?
Well, absolutely. I think it's something they can do to Darnold. Darnold, we saw, got a little bit banged up last week, and Clay Helton even announced that Darnold had been nursing an ankle injury since their loss to Washington State a few weeks prior. Now, I don't know if I believe that, but that doesn't excuse the performances Darnold had during non-conference season. He's been very turnover-prone, making some very lackadaisical throws, and he just had a lot of trouble holding on to the football this year. So I think with some of the ferocity and the intensity that ASU's front 4 bring, there's no excuse why this team couldn't get a 4 or 5 sack game on Darnold and come away with an interception or 2 on him. Now, if they do that, I think that ASU's defense has played well enough and that USC's defense is not good enough to contain ASU's offense. So I do think that the turnovers would result in an ASU victory at home Saturday night.
So that's not something that we've heard in a while. One final thing, I'm going to ask both of you, who wins?
I'm going to go in the optimistic direction this week. I'm going to take the Sun Devils, not by much, by about a score, maybe 10 points at most. This team has turned the corner. They have all the momentum going for them. USC just lost by 5 scores on the road to Notre Dame. Now, in the past, we've really seen some good USC teams fold when hit with adversity, and I would not be surprised if we see the same thing Saturday.
All right, Ethan, what have you got?
Well, I think Zach said it perfectly. It's just up to the Sun Devils to ride their momentum, keep up their success, and USC is definitely on a low hangover right now, just absolutely getting shellacked by Notre Dame, and it's really up to USC if they want to be the team that America has set them out to be. But the Sun Devils have showed that they have really turned the corner, as Zach said, and if they go out and play the way they've been doing, I thought it was very successful for them to show that they can score points, getting 30 points against Utah, even though when they only had 13 in the Washington game when they still got the win. So if the offense gets those points and the defense gets those turnovers and pressure on Sam Darnold, Arizona State takes it.
Certainly. That's all we have for you here. If the Sun Devils go 1-0 this week, as Coach Todd Graham always says, they will be in the driver's seat for the Pac-12 South. For Killian McClatchey, Zach Pekale, and Ethan Schmidt, thank you for tuning in, and be sure to follow all of our coverage of Arizona State football on devilsindetail.com.